a piece of literary work is really a portal. It's really a gateway to think about our lives in this world. You owe it to yourself to follow what you really want to do, being true to who you really are. We only have one life, we only have one shot. There's so much to learn, and every time you learn, like new doors open up for you.
Today I'm going to be interviewing my English language and literature teacher, Mr. John Ma. He's going to be sharing with us the many life philosophies that he has gotten not just from his teaching career, but from many other careers that he has participated throughout his life. So, thank you for joining me today, Mr. John Ma.
Thank you, thank you.
So my first question to you is, can you describe who you are, what you do, and why you teach English language and literature?
I'm John, and I'm a third culture kid. And I sort of grew up, so I'm a third culture adult now. I grew up in different cities, so it's made me culturally quite different from a lot of people. Who am I? Well, my job is I'm an English teacher. On the MBTI, I'm extroverted, I'm an ENFP. I'm quite extroverted, I'm intuitive. And yeah, on my big five, I'm high in extroversion and openness. Those are my highest scores. Highest on openness in particular. Why I teach English? I teach it because I love it. It's really interesting. English and literature, because it's really interesting. The IB English A language and literature is really interesting because we do a lot of different texts. It's not just literary text, not just plays, novels, poetry. We also study magazine covers, movies, comics, graphic novels, art, things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And when we study these different works, whether it be a magazine cover or it be a book or a film, one thing I notice is you really just go super deep into each one of these, like you analyze it from so many different angles, and that's one of the things that I've learned from you as a student of yours.
Yeah, I mean, that's the most interesting part, isn't it? Like, a book or a piece of literary work is really a portal, isn't it? A portal for thought. It's really a gateway to think about how we can think about our lives in this world. So I think bring, different things like psychoanalysis, economics, politics into it, it makes it really interesting.
So my second question to you, Mr. John,
Yeah.
is how did Australia shape your early mindset in childhood?
I grew up in a Singaporean household. My parents moved over when I was 4, and so I grew up basically culturally Australian. I went to a public school, running around all these kids, and I grew up basically like an Aussie kid. But I was from a Asian household, which is kind of a bit strange to my parents, and so. Yeah, it was a bit weird. I mean, I came back when I was 13, and then I sort of had to try and fit into the local school here. And it was kind of hard. Nobody could understand me because I had a really thick Aussie accent. So yeah, I found friends with other international kids. And yeah, we're still friends to this day. I think it's hard. It can be hard, especially for other third culture kids, because you don't quite fit in anywhere. Like, a person who grows up in Singapore, they'd be like, I'm firmly Singaporean, or they grew up in Australia, they're firmly Australian. But when you switch between, you're neither here nor there. So then you ask yourself, where do you belong? And there's no clear answer. I can just say planet Earth.
Definitely. And I do relate this to a lot because I was actually born in China, but when I was really young, my parents came to Singapore. And so, of course, it was different. At first I was speaking Chinese, then I started speaking English. I'm like, wait a second, what am I speaking? What's going on?
Yeah.
But I adapted way better than I thought I would.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy, and it adds to the generational divide. So there's not only a generational divide between me and my parents, but there's also a cultural divide as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I think a lot of third culture kids face that.
Also the language you use at home, it's like when I'm at home, I'm using Chinese, but when I'm outside, speaking to other people, I use English. So it's a big jump.
Yeah.
How did you discover your love for English and literature?
Well, to be honest, when I did literature in secondary 1 and secondary 2, I didn't quite know what to make of it. I mean, we studied some books and I didn't really enjoy it. I thought it was just we did Shakespeare, we did Macbeth, and we did like all these old stuff, and it was like an alien language, you know. So I didn't really enjoy it. It's only later on, I think, when I went to JC, I did general paper. I did science actually, and I did general paper. And my teacher there was, he had really interesting lessons. It was really eye-opening in terms of questioning things, in terms of questioning society, questioning economic policy, questioning, yeah, how society functions. And so I was really intrigued by that, and I sort of kept pursuing that. Even when I went to army, I was like, when I went to army and I had time to read, so I had a lot of time. So I was like reading books, reading comics, reading whatever I could, whatever I found interesting.
Yeah, that's actually one of the stories that you have told me many times, which was, you know, you did a lot of reading during national service. So I was wondering, how did it work? Like, did they have a big library over there? Did you have to bring it from home? How did it work?
I just bought it from home. I just bought it from home, or I just bought it from the library, and I just bought it into camp.
It was all because you had just a abundance of time to dedicate.
You know, when you go to army, you're gonna find out that you'll be like rushing like crazy to do something, and then like waiting for a long time, and then rushing again to do something like crazy, yeah, and then waiting for a long time. So a book is something I could like bring along, and I could just read it when I have spare time.
I see. Do you recommend I get a book for national service?
It's up to you. It's what you're interested in.
So my fourth question to you, it might be a long question or a short question depending on who I'm asking, but since I'm asking you, Mr. John, I think this is going to be a long one. What careers did you work in before becoming a teacher?
After I graduated, my first career was actually teaching. So I taught ESL in Japan, and it was amazing. I'm telling you, because I was in a different country. I was a student for all my life until then. I mean, I did part-time jobs outside during the holidays, but for the most part, I didn't really work full-time. And I mean, now I was working full-time in a foreign country, learning a foreign language, learning a foreign culture. It was fun because I was really popular with the kids. At the same time, I had zero administrative duties because it was all in Japanese, so they didn't expect any administration. All I did was just teach, and it was really fun. My problem with that job is that there's limited growth opportunities. If you're teaching the same thing, like alphabets, basic grammar, basic conversation. I did try and help some kids get into universities, but the English level in Japan is still pretty low. Yeah, I mean, I gave a whole lot of recommendations on how they can improve it, but I don't see much change, to be honest.
I also heard about how you actually did other careers like video editing, which was a big shock to me, and also accounting, was it?
Yep. So I did video editing in the university. So we had a computer lab, and we had video editing software. And so I learned, oh, this is pretty cool. I could make my own videos, and I did it with friends. And I did some video editing for teachers. I think they had projects that they had to do, and they had to show a video presentation. So we came up with something for this teacher. So, but it was like years ago, and the software is like different. The accounting, to be honest, I was trying to make my parents happy. Yeah, I was trying to make my parents happy. It really wasn't me. So yeah, if you really try to make your parents happy, you're not going to make yourself happy, usually, and it's best to try and make yourself happy because it's your life. Yeah. So I did it. I did accounting and finance. I got a second degree in that. In fact, I graduated as a top student in accounting and finance, but I hated it. It's like when I did the job, it was like super boring. I was like, a lot of it was very repetitive, and a lot of it was, a lot of it was very repetitive, and a lot of it was just very unstimulating.
I heard you have worked in Japan before. What was that like?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think that was pretty amazing, as I mentioned. Getting to go over to a new country and work there, and it's always a great experience because it's different from when you work somewhere. It's different from traveling there. When you travel somewhere, you just like, I'm going to see the Eiffel Tower, I'm going to see the Mona Lisa, I'm going to see the Louvre, etc. But when you really work there, you really pick up the culture, the small places, the details of the place, the culture, and how people live, how they think. and it's really eye-opening. Yeah, like tourism is kind of like, it's almost like a consumer product. You know, you just consume it like eating a cake or something. But when you really live somewhere, you really see the day to day, and you just really see the struggles of people, and you really struggle as well. And I think that it helps you grow as a person.
Did you read any manga in Japan?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was given a present, like a Death Note manga, but I wasn't too into it. Yeah.
My sixth question to you
Yeah.
is, how did your family support you in achieving your goals?
My family, well, I guess they give me food and shelter and emotional support while I was pursuing my studies. I think in a lot of Asian families, there's really a big doubt when it comes to doing things like the liberal arts or a creative arts degree. It's seen as sort of almost financially irresponsible, and so they sort of did try and push me away from that. But then I was like, oh, I can't not do it.
It must take a lot of bravery to sort of go against what is expected of you. It's like when you say, I think this is my passion, but then everyone in the world is telling you, don't do that. It's not good. So did you face anything like that?
Of course, and I'm not the only one who faces that. I'm sure a lot of people do, and you have to be brave. You owe it to yourself to follow what you really want to do. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the only person who says this. I mean, there's a lot of philosophers who talk about this. Being true to who you really are deep down.
Beyond just the examinations, what do you hope your students will walk away with from your lessons?
I hope they love learning, and not just for the sake of sounding smart or for the sake of a career, but they love learning to really enrich their lives, because we only have one life. We only have one life, we only have one shot, and there's so much to learn, and every time you learn, it's like new doors open up for you, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally. So that's why I like to learn. And in fact, that's why I like teaching. I like teaching because I learn a lot, even from my students. Like, even when I'm teaching you, I learn a lot, actually. Because I have to research, I have to think about how I'm going to teach you, I have to really absorb it, and then I have to present it to you.
I think you mentioned this once, which is, when you open a book, it's like you're peeking into someone's mind.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's like living a whole different life.
And it's very interesting because you get to do that for multiple characters, multiple stories, multiple eras, multiple books, written in multiple cultures. It's so interesting. And it's not just literature, it's in movies, film. There's so much in film that we haven't even studied. There's so much in art. Art is amazing as well.
Literature often hides deeper meanings, but what is one life philosophy that you have learned from a book?
Well, I've learned many great things from books. I think one of my favorite writers is Kurt Vonnegut. He says, what does he say? He says, we have to be careful what we pretend to be, because we end up being who we pretend to be. So you got to think about who you want to pretend to be, because you end up being that.
Like fake it till you make it?
Yes. So you have to think about who you want to fake as before you become that. But then there's also other things, other philosophies, like, you never step in the same river twice. Have you heard that? Because the river changes and the man changes. So every moment is a one-off.
So my ninth question to you is actually a bit counter towards the eighth question.
Yeah.
Beyond just literature, books, films, what is the greatest life lesson that you've learned from personal experience?
The greatest teacher in life, I think, is actually loss through of people, loss of money, loss of anything. It's a hard lesson, and it's a bitter lesson, and it really teaches you to really appreciate life for what it is, and it really teaches you to really savor the moment you have right now, because you never live it again.
But it's like, even if this interview is a moment in our time, we can always have a second one.
Yeah, but it'll be different.
So my 10th question is to all the students that are struggling with IB English. What is your #1 tip to raise their scores?
I'd say get a good teacher. I'd say study what the exams asking you to do, which is how effect creates meaning, especially for IB English A, and think about how you can present that in an essay. And so, because you have basically 3 essays to write at a high level, so what you want to do is you want to practice that consistently. Practice engaging in interpreting these texts and writing essays. So it's almost like it's like practice, yeah. So you can write essays, get feedback on the essays, rewrite these essays, get feedback on the essays, and keep doing that until you can really churn out good essays. And then keep on practicing that until you can interpret unseen texts and do that well, and then come up with good essays in a short period of time.
What do you say to all those people that are like, AI can write a better essay than me. Why should I do it?
AI can write a better essay in an instant, right? But it's really not about, it's kind of almost not really about the grade and not about what is produced. The mental, spiritual, and emotional growth that you attain through the ability to think clearly and precisely, and your ability to analyze texts in everyday life. That's really something that stays with you through your whole life. And it's not just a grade, it's not just what you can produce, the essay you can produce, but it's how that skill will stay with you and how you can use that in your daily life.
What would you change about the current state of education?
So much of an emphasis on measurement and segregation that it almost overshadows the aspect of growth. So when you only have certain amount of time in contact time with the student, or so many hours in a day, and if you focus on measuring and segregating, you spend less time trying to get these students to grow. And why measure something if it's still growing? If a tree is still growing, and it's growing fast, and you're putting all your effort into making it grow, then why be obsessed with measuring it?
But wouldn't you say that when you measure it, you sort of set benchmarks? So you're like, oh, now he's here, now he's here.
Yes, you set benchmarks. But I think part of the joy of learning outside of school is the complete freedom. You can learn whatever you want, and that really is a joy. In school, yeah, sure, you know, there's a focus, and it's sort of formal, and you have to structure it. And yes, I think the stakeholders are sort of different in education, because the people paying for the lessons aren't the people experiencing the lessons. So there's a mismatch between the actual person paying for it and the other person experiencing it. So that's why there's that constant measurement.
Bonus question. What happened to your arm, Mr. John?
Yeah, I broke it surfing. I was surfing the artificial wave in Somerset, and yeah, just doing tail slides, and slipped down on one quarter edge, went back in the water, and put my arm up to block my face, and the board smashed it. Yeah, it wasn't good, but I didn't think it was broken, and I actually continued.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually continued, and then I went back to school and taught you, remember? And then I was like, maybe I should go see a doctor. And I did get an X-ray, and as soon as I saw the X-ray, I was like, oh man, really is broken.
How is it teaching with one arm?
It's pretty inconvenient. I don't recommend it. I got to do everything in my left hand. I got to learn how to write with my left hand. I'm typing with one hand. I'm carrying books and trying to open doors with one hand. Yeah, it's not recommended.
What if you end up being ambidextrous?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying right now.
Right. Yeah, then in class you can mark two
at the same time. I'm not sure if my brain can handle that.
Now I'm gonna ask you some rapid fire questions.
Yes.
So we answer quickly. You can do 1 word, 3 words. It's up to you. So my first question to you is literature or film?
I love both, to be honest. I think film is just another medium of presentation. Words in a book or in a play is basically just a medium, and film is just a medium, and it's all expressing what it's like to live in this world.
Teaching or learning?
Both. You can't be a good teacher without being curious about the world and wanting to learn about it. You can't learn unless you really can teach it later.
We studied two books so far, Fight Club or The Sailor Who Fell from Grace with the Sea.
I like Fight Club. I think it's still relevant in this day and age. I like books or films that talk to me and about my life, my current life, because I can relate to it and I can think about the world today and how I live.
Would you rather write or read?
You can't really be a good writer without reading, and you can't really be a good reader without writing.
My fifth question is, you've had many careers so far. Does being a samurai sound like a good future career choice?
Yeah, maybe 500 years ago in Japan. It might be a bit short-lived though.
We can get you a katana and you
Yeah.
can practice slicing down bamboo.
Yeah, I think you can do that with Kendo right now.
Where can we book a lesson with you, Mr. John?
Yeah, you can just follow me at Johnny Ma Graham.
Right.
Johnny Ma being a play on the Smiths guitarist Johnny Ma.
Well, that concludes the interview. Thank you very much for joining me today, Mr. John.
Thank you, Wenhao.
Yeah.
Okay.